Did you know that in 2007, a group of investors bought Hilton Hotels for $26 billion? But here's the crazy part. They only used $5.6 billion of their own money. The rest, pure debt, borrowed money. 3 years later, they took Hilton public and made over $14 billion in profit. This isn't some illegal scheme. It's called a leveraged buyout, and it's how the ultra-wealthy play a completely different game than the rest of us. By the end of this video, you'll understand the exact playbook billionaires use to buy income-producing assets with minimal personal risk and why they ray teaching you to save pennies while they ray. Buying empires with debt. Let's dive in. Most people trade time for money. You work 40 hours, you get paid for 40 hours. But billionaires, they don't buy time. They buy income streams. Think about it. When you buy a rental property, you're not buying bricks and wood. You're buying the monthly rent checks that property generates. Billionaires do the same thing, just at a scale that's hard to comprehend. They buy entire companies like you'd buy a rental property. But here's where it gets wild. They use something called leverage. And leverage changes everything. Imagine you want to buy a $500,000 house. You put down $100,000 and borrow $400,000 from the bank. If that house goes up 20% to $600,000, you didn't make $20,000. You made $100,000 because you doubled while you were money, even though the house only went up 20%. That's leverage. You're using borrowed money to multiply your returns. Now scale that up from a house to a $10 billion company. Welcome to the leveraged buyout. Here's how a leveraged buyout or LBO actually works. Step 1. Find the target. Private equity firms look for profitable, stable companies with consistent cash flow. Think boring businesses, manufacturing companies, hotel chains, grocery stores. Why? Because banks love lending against predictable income. Step 2. Do the math. Let's say the company costs $1 billion. The private equity firm puts up $300 million of their own money. That's the equity. Then they borrow $700 million from banks and lenders. That's the debt. Total, $1 billion. Company acquired. Step 3. The trick: load the debt onto the company. Here's the part that blows people's minds. That's $700 million in debt. It doesn't stay with the private equity firm. They transfer it to the company itself. So now the company owes the money, not the buyers. It's like buying a house, then making the house responsible for paying its own mortgage. Step 4. Optimize and extract. Now the private equity firm goes to work. They cut costs, fire redundant staff, sell underperforming divisions, improve operations, and increase prices. Every dollar of profit now goes to two things: paying down that massive debt and increasing the company's value. Step 5. Hit exit. After 5 to 7 years, they sell the company or take it public. If the company is now worth $1.5 billion and they've paid down to $100 million in debt, here's what happens. The company value is $1.5 billion. The remaining debt is $500 million. The net value is $1 billion. They sell it, pay off the $500 million debt, and pocket $500 million. Remember, they only put in $300 million of their own money. That's $500 million in profit on a $300 million investment. A 67% return in just 5 years. Let me show you how this played out in real life. Example 1. Toys R Us, the disaster. In 2005, private equity firms bought Toys R Us for $6.6 billion. They used $5.3 billion in debt. The company couldn't handle the debt payments. They had to cut investments, couldn't compete with Amazon, and filed for bankruptcy in 2017. 30,000 people lost their jobs. The private equity firms. They still extracted over $200 million in fees during the process. This is the dark side of LBOs. When they fail, workers and communities suffer. The investors often still walk away with something. Example 2, Hilton Hotels, the home run. Now for the success story. In 2007, Blackstone bought Hilton for $26 billion, with $5.6 billion in equity and $20.4 billion in debt. They improved operations, expanded the brand globally, and waited out the 2008 recession. In 2013, they took Hilton public. By 2018, Blackstone had made over $14 billion in profit, one of the most profitable LBOs in history. Same strategy, opposite outcome. Example 3, Dell Computers. In 2013, Michael Dell took his own company private using an LBO structure of a $24.9 billion deal with significant debt. He restructured away from Wall Street's quarterly pressure, pivoted the business, and when Dell went public again in 2018, it was worth significantly more. The lesson: LBOs are tools. Like any tool, they can build or destroy. Now you might be thinking, cool story, but I'm not buying billion-dollar companies. Fair. But understanding this changes how you think about wealth. Lesson 1. Debt isn't always bad. You've been taught to avoid debt. But the wealthy use debt strategically to buy assets that produce income. Bad debt is borrowing for a car that loses value. Good debt is borrowing to buy a rental property that pays you every month. Lesson 2. Buy income, not stuff. Billionaires don't get rich from salaries. They get rich from owning things that generate cash flow. You can start small, buy dividend stocks, start a side business, invest in rental properties, create digital products. The principle is the same: own assets that pay you. Lesson 3. Understand the game. Most people are playing checkers while billionaires are playing chess. When you see a company get bought out and thousands get laid off, now you understand why. It's not personal. It's an LBO being optimized for returns. When you see a private equity firm in the news, you now know their playbook. Knowledge is power. And this knowledge shapes economies. Let's be clear, LBOs are high risk, high reward. The risks include the debt burden. If cash flow drops, the company can collapse under debt payments. Economic downturns can kill over-leveraged companies. There's reputation damage from mass layoffs and bankruptcies. And there's increasing regulatory scrutiny on these deals. For every Hilton success story, there are dozens of Toys R Us failures. But here's what you need to understand: the people doing these deals are playing with asymmetric risk. They risk millions to make billions. And even when they lose, they often have fee structures and legal protections that minimize personal damage. The workers who lose jobs, they don't have that luxury. This is why understanding these systems matters. Not to glorify them, but to see the playing field clearly. So what do you do with this information? Use it to think differently about money. Stop trading time for dollars. Start acquiring income-producing assets. Use leverage wisely, not recklessly. And never forget, the game is rigged, but you can still learn the rules. If this video changed how you think about wealth, hit that subscribe button. We're breaking down the financial strategy